Hi class, in this we're going to go over some questions from chapter 3 quiz. Alright, so first one says if he devote all his available resource to cantaloupe production, a farmer can produce 120 cantaloupe if he sacrifice 1.3 watermelon for each cantaloupe that he produced, then it follows that what? Alright, so the opportunity cost for each cantaloupe is 1.3 watermelon, and then he can produce a maximum of 120 cantaloupe. So which means that if you use 120 cantaloupe times 1.3 watermelon, then this would be equivalent to 180 watermelon can produce a maximum. All right, so first one says if it devote all his available resources to watermelon production, then he can produce 80 watermelon. So that will be false because we can do a maximum 180. So B says he cannot have a comparative advantage over other farmers in producing cantaloupe. So that is false because we don't know what the opportunity cost for other farmers are. And let's look at C first. So C says his opportunity cost frontier, production possibility frontier is border outward. Now, normally your PPF is a straight line like this, but sometimes you might see a border outward PPF. Now that will happen whenever you have a specialized resource. So if the farmer has a resource that's good in, let's say, cantaloupe production and not good in, watermelon, then you're going to see this border outward PPF. But however, this opportunity cost here, it is constant. So if it's constant PPF, constant opportunity, then you're going to see this straight line PPF. Because this PPF, the slope for the line is just really the opportunity cost. So if this opportunity cost doesn't change, then this PPF will be straight line. It will be straightforward down. But if you have a let's say either an increasing or decreasing opportunity cost, then you're going to see a border outward or border inward shape of PPF. All right, so C says his opportunity cost of 1 watermelon is 2/3 cantaloupe. All right, so we can actually do this because let's write this way. So maximum cantaloupe will be 120. So the price of cantaloupe, let's just call PC, equals to 120 cantaloupe. Now remember, whatever you're looking for, that maximum production goes on the bottom of the fraction, right? So at maximum, he can produce 120 cantaloupe. And then the maximum of the other good, which will be watermelon, so 180, and that goes on top. And then if you simplify, this will become 1.5 watermelon, right? So that's the information we have given in the question. So 1 cantaloupe is equivalent to 1.5 watermelon. Now, let's do the same thing for the price of watermelon. So PW equals to the maximum number of watermelon, so 180 watermelon. And then on top will be the maximum number of cantaloupe. And simplify this would be 2/3 cantaloupe, right? So that is the answer, 2/3. Okay. All right. So next question. Suppose a garden produce both tomato and squash in its garden. If the opportunity cost of 1 squash is 2/5 bushel of tomato, then the opportunity cost of 1 tomato is how much? So one thing about this opportunity cost, and let's use the information we just saw before. Here, let me use this area. So we have opportunity cost of a cantaloupe. So 1.5 is really 3/2 watermelon. And then the opportunity cost of watermelon is just 2/3 cantaloupe. Now, do you guys notice anything special between these two numbers over here? Notice that they're the reciprocal of each other, right? You flip over, that is the other opportunity cost, right? So for this question here, we have opportunity cost of 1 squash is equal to 2/5 bushel of tomato. Then the opportunity cost of tomato, let's flip over, so just 5/2 squash. Right, so it's just the reciprocal of each other. That's why the answer is this one, B. Okay. All right, so next question. So which of following statement about comparative advantage that is not true? So let's look at from bottom up. So first one, the last one says, a country may have a comparative advantage in producing a good, even though it lacks the absolute advantage in producing that good. So that statement is true, because if you guys remember the example we used in class, that we can demonstrate that in the example we used in class was the U.S. has both absolute advantage in the production for both computers and wheat, and then Japan actually has a comparative advantage in the production for computers, right? So it is actually possible for a country who doesn't have any absolute advantage, but to have a comparative advantage in one good. And also this thing with the comparative advantage is always one country, one comparative advantage. So somebody always has the comparative advantage in the production for something. Now for absolute, that's not the case anymore, because for absolute, it is possible for one country with both absolute advantage. Okay, so that statement is true. And next, economists use the principle of comparative advantage to emphasize the potential benefit of trade. That is the whole idea behind the comparative advantage. That's really what we use to demonstrate the benefit of trade, which allow countries to consume at a point that's outside the PPF, which used to be impossible if the country is self-sufficient by themselves. All right, so the second one says, so this is also right. The principle of comparative advantage apply to countries as well as individuals. That is true. And then if you guys just think about the question we're having this quiz, we have country like Brazil, Argentina. We also have individual like Arturo and Dina, right? So this idea of comparative advantage really does apply to everybody, not just individuals, also countries and companies and so forth. So that's also right. Now, A says, comparative advantage is determined by which person or group of person can produce a given quantity of good using few resources. This is actually the exact definition of absolute advantage, not a comparative advantage, right? So that's why this is false. So this will be the right answer we're looking for, okay? All right, so next question. A farmer has the ability to grow corn or cotton or some combination of two. Given no other information, it follows the farmer's opportunity cost of a bushel of corn multiplied by his opportunity cost of bushel of cotton equals to how much? All right, now we don't know exactly what the opportunity cost for each one is, but it is we can find it because we're not looking for just one opportunity cost. We're looking for the multiple of the two opportunity costs. And let me show you what that looks like. So if we use the example we used before, let's say we use the squash and tomato, right? So we have 2/5 tomato. So 2/5 tomatoes times 5/2 squash, and this equals to what? 1, right? And then if you use the first example we have, which was like 3, that's supposed to be a 3, 3/2. What's the thing we talked about on the first question? Watermelon. So 3/2 watermelon times 2/3 cantaloupe, and it's also equal to 1, right? Because the two opportunity costs are the reciprocal of each other. So if you multiply them by each other, they always equal to 1. Okay, so that's the answer. Okay. All right. So next question. Okay, this is a little small. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. So this is Brazil's production possibility frontier. If the country's opportunity, if the production possibility frontier show for 2 months of production, then which of the following combinations of peanuts and cashews could Brazil produce in 2 months? All right. So we're looking for what is possible. Now, normally, if you're looking for what is possible, we're looking for anything that's inside the line, right? Because if it's inside, that means it's possible. But for this question here, we have a little issue. That is because the numbers are very, very precise, right? So for the first one says 7 peanuts and 35 cashews. Now, 7 peanuts is right here, but 35 cashews is not even labeled on the graph here. So it's really hard to see where 35 cashew is. So we cannot use the looking method anymore. We have to really use the numbers here. So apply the opportunity cost for each combination to see which one is possible and then which one is not possible. So the first thing we want to do is find out what is the opportunity cost of the productions. And let's just say we're looking for opportunity cost of peanuts. So the opportunity cost of peanuts, we're going to do the maximum peanut on the bottom. So that would be 8 peanuts. And then on top will be the maximum of the other good. So 400 cashew, 240 cashew. So 240 cashew. And simplified, this would be 30 cashew, right? That means when you produce 1 peanut, you're going to cost you 30 cashew. Now, the maximum the country can produce will be 8 peanuts. Now, let's look at each one to see which of the combination here is possible or not possible. So the country can produce a maximum 8 peanuts. The first combination here is asking for 7, which means that we're giving up give up 1 peanut. And we said 1 peanut is equivalent to 30 cashew. That means if this country produces only 7 peanuts, they can also produce 30 cashew as well, right? But this is asking for 35 cashew, which is more than what we can do for 30, so that is impossible. Now let's look at the second one here. So for second one, let me use it smaller. All right, so second one here is asking for 5 peanuts. So we're going to give up 3 peanuts. And then for each one, it's equivalent to 30 cashew, so 3 times 30. So this will give you also 90 cashew. But this combination here is asking for 100 cashew. That is also impossible, right? So third one here, we're going to produce 2 peanuts. So we're going to give us 6 peanuts. Each one is 30 cashew, so that will be 180 cashew, and it's asking for 190. So again, this is impossible. And last one here, for 3 peanuts, we're going to give up 5 peanuts, and each one is 30 cashew, and this will be 150 cashew, which is exactly what we're looking for, right? So only the last combination here is possible. Okay. All right. So let's look at the last question here. So still Brazil. Production policy frontier, what is asking? So now it's asking for which one the country cannot produce in 2 months, right? So we look at the other way around. All right, so again, maximum 8 peanuts, right? So the first combination is asking for 5 peanuts, right? So give up 3 peanuts, 3 times 30, that equal to 90. And this is asking for 88, so that is very possible. But we're looking for what is not possible, right? So next one here, we produce 4 peanuts. That means we're going to give up 4. Each one is equivalent to 30 cashew, so that will be 120 cashew. And this is asking for 115, so that's also possible. Next one here is 3 peanuts, which means we give up 5. And then for 5 peanuts, each one is 30 cashew, and there'll be a total of 150, right? And this is asking for 155, so therefore this will be the right answer because it is not possible. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's all the questions for this chapter. So if you guys have any more questions, let me know. Okay. See you later. Bye-bye.